Alright everybody, hello and welcome. This is Hippie once again here, bringing you a Premier League replay cast. It's going to be a best of 3 between No Tidehunter and Absolute Legends. Without further ado, let's get started. No Tidehunter, of course, you'll see they're playing with one stand-in. Still haven't found a replacement for Eternal Envy, who was dropped, I think, within the last week. It was pretty recent. Based on... there were a number of reasons stated. Loda talks about wanting to have an all-Swedish team. Envy said he felt like he wasn't really performing up to snuff as a captain. That's why S4 was starting to take over. And all in all, things just weren't quite gelling. Envy has a long blog post about it. You can probably find it on Google. But overall, he didn't seem too bitter about it. Although I know it must have been disappointing for him, considering he was pretty much the founder of No Tidehunter. But, you know, it is what it is. It's the Dota pro scene. There is occasionally some drama. There are some team shifts. Bigger one today came with Na'Vi dropping Arzart and picking up Funnick off of Empire. But that is not a conversation for right now. Pretty exciting, though. Excited to see what they do. Standard bans coming out so far. Nyx Assassin, Bat Rider. No surprises there. Nobody likes those heroes, unless they get their hands on them. We'll see who makes it through. Who No Tidehunter wants to kind of try to force AL into leaving them for their first pick. Do they want to ban out the Wisp? Do they want to ban out the Wisp and try to get something else as their first pick? Maybe get a Keeper of the Light? Do they want to ban something else? See if AL doesn't want to ban the Wisp? Well, there goes the Coddle, so they're apparently not interested. Bans that could come out for AL right here. Darkseer, sometimes Magnus. He's occasionally banned in the first round. The aforementioned Wisp. Lots of solid stuff. Boom, there he goes. So No Tidehunter, I would think Darkseer, yup.
Radiant team pick.
Perfectly standard, versatile, has a couple strong places to lane. Magnetar picked up now by Absolute Legends. I should probably start calling him Magnus since he's not the Magnetar anymore, he's just Magnus. But it just sounds so regal, Magnetar. You know what I mean? Anyway, Rubik going to be the second pickup for AL, so again, two very, very versatile heroes picked up. Magnetar, of course, I just said I was going to stop doing that. Magnus, of course, very strong, can be an excellent mid laner depending on who you put him against. Can offlane, weaker since the skewer change, which I know was months ago. Why am I still mentioning it? Probably because I like to make a point of how picks in the first phase, if you make picks that lock you into a certain set of lanes in the first phase, you're liable to get counterpicked or get very important, powerful heroes for your lineup banned out. So if you pick a Magnus and then say they also pick somebody who is a traditional offlaner, like a Bounty Hunter or a Lone Druid, then you've got 2 of the 3 lanes set, and they can start banning out just to try and counter your tri-lane. No Tidehunter taking their time with their second set of picks. I could see a Lifestealer. Obviously, he's been incredibly powerful for a while. I could see a Shadow Demon. I could see a Bane, maybe. He's been a pick that's been very popular as of late.
Reserve time.
Gyrocopter, duh. How did I not think of him? Only, like, the most popular pick. I was looking at there's a nice analytical website. I forget what it was, unfortunately. But basically, with data from pro games, it was checking a graph of heroes' win rates based on how long the game goes. Gyrocopter was like 55+% win rate at every phase of the game. Hero is amazing. And of course the Shadow Demon picked up, as I mentioned. Very, very powerful support. Versatile, can get a lot of work done all over the map, and kind of prevents, if they do want to do, I mean, AL could obviously still go Lifestealer, he's still a very, very powerful carry, but Shadow Demon's Demonic Purge, picking that up just so you have the counter if they decide to go Lifestealer, and of course it's very good against plenty of other heroes, but the fact that it'll go through that rage is significant. And Nature's Prophet picked up, alright. So that probably does solidify a mid-Magnus and an offlane or an offlane/jungling Prophet. They could theoretically vaguely swap those around, but it's incredibly rare you see Nature's Prophet mid, and also rare you see Magnus offlane, so I find it much more likely that they're going to be doing that. And now, like I said, No Tidehunter can basically ban against that tri-lane, whereas on their side, the Gyro could be solo safe lane, the Gyro could be tri-laned, he could be a carry or a support, you don't know. The Darkseer could be mid or the off lane. So you can't necessarily, you have to worry about the possibility of them
10
picking up a
seconds
strong
remaining.
offlaner to complement the rest of their lineup. The only hero who you know where he's
5
going is that
seconds
Shadow Demon.
remaining.
And even then, Shadow Demon can either offensively or defensively tri-lane. So there's a lot more versatility ready to come out for no Tidehunter, meaning the bans from AL have to be a lot more broad, and the bans from NTH can be a lot more focused. NTH certainly taking their time, trying to figure out exactly who they want to get rid of. If it was me, I'd probably get rid of the Lifestealer at some point in this ban, just because I hate dealing. Yep. Boom!
Radiant
I got a
team
ban right,
lost.
guys. My life is complete. I'm serious business now. Nightstalker banned out. Not really that surprising. Wouldn't probably be banned out against anyone but no Tidehunter, but S4 loves drafting that out for himself. He is a huge fan of that Nightstalker, and they've had reasonable success with it, trying to bring him back. Other teams have had less success when they tried to capitalize on the Nightstalker, but S4, not only is it kind of one of his signature heroes, but he's smart enough, because he's the one who'll be playing the mid matchup and he's also drafting it, he'll know, okay, I'm looking at this draft, can I win middle, or can I survive well enough in middle to get to first night with enough gear to go ganking? Am I going to need to
10
have extra
seconds
time spent
remaining.
farming? Is the enemy mid going to be able to take a big advantage of the fact that I'm Nightstalker and I'm kind of
5
weak until I have a
seconds
bottle?
remaining.
Those are all questions he can ask himself before he drafts something like that. Whereas somebody who doesn't have as intimate of a knowledge of the mid lane and is doing the drafting might say, oh, Nightstalker's a good hero, he can have a good effect on the map, but they don't quite
Radiant team
get
down.
all of that. And of course, different teams' drafting styles. Some teams are very much together on their drafts. Some teams, the captain basically does everything. I forget who. There was someone who says he just basically mutes the rest of his team while he's drafting, just because he thinks and his team trusts him to draft that well. Anyway, Undying and Lone Druid both banned out. And Lone Druid, what a surprise, banning Lone Druid against Admiral Bulldog. We'll see if they ban his Bounty Hunter out with their last ban. And nobody likes to deal with Undying. He's... The thing with Undying is... Since you know they're probably going to be running an offlane Prophet, I feel like no Tidehunter,
10
with the
seconds
Undying
remaining.
ban, is looking to get an offensive tri-lane going,
5
simply
seconds
because
remaining.
Undying is one of the best tri-lane versus tri-lane heroes in the game, as we all know. Decay is amazing,
Reserve time.
and he's incredible defensive tri-laner. Faceless Void banned out, okay. They don't want to deal with that bubble, they don't want to deal with that ultra late game. Telling me that they want to... I feel like they want to play aggressive, but they don't want to have to worry about AL having someone that they just can't lock down in the late game. Between the Lifestealer Rage, the Void Bubble, stuff that just lets them get taken apart within that sort of 5-second window. See what AL's final ban coming out is. But no, Tidehunter definitely could be setting up for an aggressive tri-lane here.
10
Although,
seconds
theoretically, you
remaining.
could safe lane the Prophet, so they have to be a
5
little careful that
seconds
they don't draft
remaining.
themselves into a corner, or ban themselves into a corner, I guess, by banning out expecting
Reserve
a
time.
defensive tri-lane, because with only the Rubik picked, it still could be an offensive tri-lane. Queen of Pain banned out, not wanting to give them the option of having a whole lot of big ganky bursts, especially not with the Soul Catcher coming out from the Shadow Demon. Not very surprising. We'll see if they do pick up Bounty Hunter for Bulldog, although that would make you think that they're probably defensive tri-laning with the Gyro and the Shadow Demon, but could still be something else. Chen picked up, okay. So,
Radiant team pick.
yeah, probably going to be a defensive tri-lane. Gyro, Shadow Demon, Chen. Getting some good work done, getting the Gyro farmed up early. Could still be a different hero in the tri-lane. They could mid the Gyrocopter, but I could just have missed it. I haven't watched a lot of No Tidehunter recently, but I'm not sure S4 really plays Gyrocopter. It's not really his thing, as far as I know.
10 seconds.
So they're probably going to be giving that to Loda.
5 seconds remaining.
AL taking their time. Maybe they're trying to decide if they want to try to contest that tri-lane up there. Sand King picked up. That's the makings of a really strong aggressive tri-lane. They just need a third hero for it. maybe an Alchemist. Teams have been experimenting a lot with Alchemist in the aggressive tri-lane recently. Simply because if you have a couple stuns to set up that unstable concoction, a hero is dead. Like, outright dead. The problem they're going to have to work with, and there's the Storm Spirit for the mid lane. That'll be S4's hero. So we're going to have a Storm Spirit mid, Darkseer in the off lane, Chen, Shadow Demon, Gyrocopter in the safe lane. But, basically, the Alchemist, the one thing they'd have to worry about is because there's going to be a Shadow Demon in that defensive lane, unless they go on him, which leaves the... Oh, there's the Anti-Mage. Okay, so maybe that is going to be a defensive tri-lane. So we'll just see a free-farming Anti-Mage and a free-farming Gyrocopter, which means that with the Chen, well, with the Chen and the Storm Spirit reasonably good at getting ganks off on Anti-Mage simply because of how quickly things can happen with a Storm Spirit. Before you know it, of course, you're tethered, there's a 2.5 second stun on you, and a lot of follow-up can come out. But obviously no Tidehunter are going to be looking to end the game before that Anti-Mage can just take over completely with his level of farm. And picking a Chen, picking a Storm Spirit shows that yeah, you wanna play for the mid game. You're not looking to go ultra late. AL, on the other hand, would be perfectly comfortable because not only do they have amazing late game split push once the Anti-Mage gets farmed between him and the Nature's Prophet. Excuse me for just a moment, guys. I think I have to.
10 seconds remaining.
Sorry, I didn't want to blow anyone's ears up. Just coughing right there. I had something stuck in my throat.
5 seconds remaining.
Apologies. But between the Anti-Mage and the Nature's Prophet, they have this amazing late-game split push. They can just, take towers left and right without you actually being able to do anything about it, because if you stop one of them, the other one gets a tower. But they also have a lot of really good AoE mid-game strength just by virtue of the Magnus and the Sand King. Magnus catches 2 or 3 with an RP, they're all dead. Because Sand King can just stun, ult on top of them, and laugh. And of course, the Rubik Fade Bolt, never a bad thing. Some good steals could be coming out. If he steals the Call Down on top of that, and if he steals maybe a Soul Catcher to put extra damage on everyone, even just stealing an Ion Shell, stealing a Vacuum would be really huge in this game. A lot of excellent steals that could come out. We'll have to see how Rise does with that. Anyway, as long as we're paused, may as well go through this while it's easy. We're going to have Miracle on the Magnus, Unicorn on the Anti-Mage, Miguel, I'm going to call him Miguel. Or possibly just GG, but I'll stick with Miguel on the Nature's Prophet, Mania on the Sand King, Rise on the Rubik, against Loda playing that farming Gyrocopter, Bulldog on the Darkseer, S4 on the Storm Spirit, EGM on the Shadow Demon, the stand-in, still haven't officially replaced Eternal Envy, and Ake on that Chen. You know what's the best thing about replay casts, guys? This. I can just speed it all up so we don't have to wait through what looks like it was going to be a really long pause. Apparently Skype issues coming out for Absolute Legends. Admin saying, no problem, we'll let you fix it, we want a good match. I wish I could just cover up like the match length and the match bar and just have the speed slider, but I guess they are reasonably length. There we go, Nature's Prophet has reconnected. Bugged game, Riot fix please. Come on, there we go. And we are headed right out. Boom! So none of us had to wait through that. That looked like it was like a 5-minute pause, maybe? Maybe more? Could have been pretty significant. Looks like NTH kind of want to head down to the bottom jungle. And, indeed, AL wants to go there as well, but they'll have the Treant scouting for them, so hopefully they'll see what's coming out from NTH, be able to get themselves away if they feel they can't handle it. Which team really has the better initial engagement? Just because Chen doesn't have a creep, I think there'll be problems with the initial engagement, but you do have the Rocket Barrage to make up for that, being one of the best level 1 skills in the game in terms of raw damage. Again, AL saying, nope, our Anti-Mage is about as much of a creep as that Chen, except he's melee and Chen is ranged. So we do not want to fight this. NTH can hang out here all they want.
30 seconds to showtime.
Sentry being dropped to try and prevent any sort of counter warning out here. As well as I'm not sure if that positioning actually blocks the camp. We do have a little bit of damage coming out. Disruption did come out on the Sand King, but he's just going to get right out. Take a little bit of damage, about a quarter of his life down. Not exactly the greatest start for your defensive tri-lane, but it's not like they lost anyone, so it's not that huge of a deal.
And away we
And
go.
yeah, I was wondering if maybe NTH was gonna think about leaving the tri-lane down here, but they've decided they don't feel like it. They don't want to be quite that aggressive.
Radiant on one side, Dire on the other.
Sentry coming out to try and counter, but they're not going to find it. Sitting right here in the trees. They could theoretically fly a courier over there if they had one, but their courier's not flying. They have no idea. Bring up the last hits thing, because I like having it. Is that going to block? Yes, it is. Well, there we go. Initial block comes out. Admiral Bulldog with his DD rune. Not actually going to get anything done with that. And Unicorn just going to start farming up this bottom lane. Ooh, Storm Spirit versus Magnus. That is not a fun match for Miracle over there. S4 probably going to have a reasonably easy time. Look at all the damage coming out. He's only level 2. Only has the level 1 Remnant. But the level 1 Remnant is 140 damage. Add the extra 30 damage from Overload to his normal attack. That's, you know, a quick 230 points of burst damage that can come out from S4 right there if he's close enough. And if Magnus is in farming creeps, he's going to be close enough. I really like the resurgence of Storm Spirit in the competitive scene recently. I forget who was the first one who started drafting him. It might have been Kuroki, because I believe he's been playing. Or was it Korok?
Radiant's mid tower.
God, I get those two confused. They're both such good players, but why are your names so similar, guys? I think it was Korok now I'm reconsidering. S4 already has his bottle. Gonna keep the spam coming up there. And he is in... you know what? Magnus actually not doing too bad on the last hit. 7-0 against a 10-1 Storm Spirit. So it could be worse. Definitely an advantage for S4, and he's gonna have that advantage the whole time. Looks like Miracle wants to go and just pull out some creeps, try and get a little bit of a lane advantage going on there, stacking those up, and picking up his own bottle as well to let him spam out those shockwaves. Top lane, pulls coming on from EGM. Just getting things done, keeping Loda in his nice, easy, and safe lane. Miguel doing what he can to try and harass with those treants a little, but having problems getting any sort of farm or levels going on, of course. I mean, Nature's Prophet may be a good offlaner, but you're still 1 against 3. Loda already with his Ring of Basilius, and 400 gold on top of it. Bulldog trying to get something done with those ion shells, but still level 1. He has absolutely no experience coming out here. And, well, you know, he's getting a couple last hits. He's got 3 last hits. Until he actually gets the experience to level up that ion shell, Unicorn doesn't really care. He's got the spell shield, so he's got much better resistance than your average melee hero, and he can take the occasional couple ticks of ion shell to make sure that he gets his last hits just fine. And he's sitting at 13 and 5, so it's not like it's pushing him out of lane or anything like that. As long as those supports are there to zone Bulldog out, I would almost say just go in the jungle and start ion shelling down these creeps. Except he doesn't really want to, because duh, they have a Chen. Silly me. Gale getting stuff nice and pushed up to his tower, gonna get some experience. Doing this at level 3, much better than Bulldog's doing right here. He's just gotten his first tick of experience from 1 creep. Picks up the second one, but it does get denied. A couple of ion shells gonna make Unicorn just want to run away right there. And there we go. This mid lane is starting to swing more in favor of S4. 20 and 6 versus a 12-0 Magnus. Miracle's still not completely out of it, but if he wants to... He can't really lose out too much on experience. They need him to get some level 6. They need him to get his level 6. They need him to be able to have an effect on the mid-game, because if you don't have a lot of mid-game power, and you're up against a Chen and a Storm Spirit, you'll just die before you can get anywhere. I mean, there's no way to dodge those heroes. It looks like Aki wants to come in for a smoke gank with his Centaur. Going to be going for the Nature's Prophet, it appears. Forcing him back behind the tower. Doesn't maybe want to push quite that far in. Watch that. Very, very close. The missile's coming out from Loda. Wow. Loda's diving for it. He's got to know something's going on here. Maybe they just want to get this top tower. But, I mean, Miguel has to know that there's something fishy going on here. How long left on that smoke? It's about to wear off. So yeah, they're not going to get anything done, but they hopefully are going to get some tower damage in.
Radiant's top
and just
tower
force Miguel out of lane so he can't actually get any experience. In the meantime, looks like we might have a gank coming in the mid lane. Smoke coming in from Rise and Mania.
Radiant's top tower's taking
Sand King
hits.
just waiting. They want to give their Magnus a little bit of help in this mid lane so that he can get that extra mid game power in there. Oh, but Storm is already 6. Rubik reveals himself from the smoke and
That's a
just
first
isn't fast enough.
blood.
But Loda dives in. Looks like Ake did get up in the end anyway. Gets in probably with that Centaur stun. Yep. And Loda, of course, that rocket barrage, so much damage. He's maxing flak cannon. Interesting, I guess,
Radiant's top tower's
to
hurting.
flak down the treants
Radiant's gone and
so that Miguel
fortified
can't get
their
anything done
structures.
with them. And it looks like Mania is just going to come into the top lane. They're perfectly comfortable leaving Unicorn alone in that bottom lane to farm. He doesn't really have anything to fear from that Darkseer. He's going to start taking a little more damage from the Ion Shell, but oh, he just wants to go in. He says, Bulldog, what are you doing in my lane? I will take all of your mana. You're not allowed to cast Ion Shells. Bulldog still no Soul Ring coming up for him yet. So although he's going to do better now, since he can actually get some levels, now that he's not being zoned out, he's still, 3 levels behind Unicorn, who can if he wants to. What's he putting? Yeah, he's got 2 points in stats just to give himself the extra HP, extra last hitting power. Make sure he can get that farm going. I believe once upon a time, this was a build that was exclusive to, I think, DK's Burning. I don't know if he still plays for DK, but Burning, who's, a phenomenal carry player in Anti-Mage, one of his signature heroes, for those of you who don't really pay attention to Chinese Dota. But it's become pretty standard to just go for stats on the Anti-Mage 1-1-1, because the initial point of each of these abilities is really, really good. The scaling on them, aside from Blink, is not particularly impressive. They're good to max out at some point, but the extra stats in lane for last hitting and for resistance to harassment, so good. Storm Spirit wants none of this. S4 almost going down in the mid lane there, but not quite. Still doing okay. I feel like I'm getting some frame drops. I'll investigate that after this game. It's not bad enough that I want to stop the cast in the middle for you guys. We'll see how it turns out. Looks like we do have a smoke up coming in here. We have a Dark Troll and a Centaur coming in from Ake. That'll be very, very dangerous if they can actually get anything done. Disruption coming out from EGM right before the blink is done. Needs to get that stun timed perfectly. Gets it off. There's the net. He's not going to be able to blink away. The stun tries to come out from Mania, but it's not going to be in time. Might have just sacrificed himself as well. Shadow Poison spam coming out, and the Ion Shell going to tick him down. Actually, he dies to the Shadow Poison release. EGM saying, I want the gold. What are you doing, Bulldog? You're not allowed to get that kill. Oh, and Storm Spirit. I probably should have figured that out when he's just said, over here I am, over here I am, over and over and over. But Magnus is going to die as well. So a quick 3 kills popping out for no Tidehunter, extending their lead. And they're now over 1,500 experience. Whoop, wrong button. And over 1,500 gold. So a nice solid start to the laning phase for them. And the movement has been attempted from Absolute Legends. They want to try and lock down S4. And oh, someone got the carrier. I wonder where it was. What was anything still on it? Let's find out. Oh, it won't show me. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it was Mania's boots and some wards. So not only is their Sand King now bootless, but their ward up here is about half its duration left, and they don't have any warded anywhere else on the map. So they're really lacking in vision. And when you've already seen this movement coming out from NTH for the first phase of this game, oh, Bulldog going to get engaged upon. He gets Fade Bolt to try to pull him up to avoid the Surge getting away. Nature's Prophet porting in to try for something, but he does manage to sneak away in the opposite direction using his Surge. Got another Surge ready. Looks like looks like he wanted to try to go through there, but Chen Heal coming out. Bulldog not going to live, going to get mana broke. But S4 coming in there with the Electric Vortex, so much damage coming out onto Miguel playing that Nature's Prophet. Now they're going to try to disengage. Good reverse polarity, catches 2 and all the creeps. Unicorn going to come in and get some damage done. Defensive disruption coming out from the Shadow Demon. Mania wants to get a stun. Are they going to get anything done? Anti-Mage does pick up the kill. Maybe Ake trying to get engaged upon. We do have S4 and Loda chasing down Rubik. He's going to go down nice and easy. Chen goes down to the Magnus. Still going to be an engagement down here. Unicorn getting a missile dropped out on him. He has a blink. He can get away if he wants to. Gets Vortex. The call down coming out. Lots of damage. Going to hit 4 heroes with that. Rocket Barrage also pumping out a ton of damage. Storm Spirit picking up a couple kills. Ake with that Centaur taking 2 of the kills. Post-mortem, that was an excellent turnaround from no Tidehunter. They could have just said, alright, Bulldog's, he's probably going to get away, he's got Surge, but he did get caught right here. Obviously ended up in a bad situation. They just went in, saved Bulldog, got a ton of kills in exchange for it. That was, I think, 6 kills they just picked up. And sure, they lost a couple people. They lost to Chen, they lost to Shadow Demon, they lost Bulldog. But it was pretty much, they doubled up, 6 for 3, I believe. and they're going to get this tower for free as well. That poured in from Magnetar is not going to be enough. He is going to get the deny, but is it going to cost him? His Skewer, I think, is only level... Oh, no, it's level 3. Okay. He's got enough to get out of there. So good deny. Excellent play coming in from Miracle. I doubted you, buddy. I'm sorry. But still a big advantage for no Tidehunter. 10 minutes in, 10-3, over 5,000 experience and over 5,000 gold after that last engagement. And as they're shifting, they have enough power. They can probably start to shift out of the laning phase. Look, you have the level 10 Storm Spirit already, level 9 Gyrocopter. Gyro can either farm up or just start putting a lot of mid-game pressure on, depending on how they want to play this. But Storm Spirit, especially with him getting closer and closer, he's got his first Oblivion Staff, he's got his treads, he's going to zip in somewhere. Oh no, he's just coming for the regen rune. And that is a rune, I mean, on everyone else, it's like, oh, cool. That's some good lane presence, or I can go in and, you know, practically die and just come right back afterwards. On Storm Spirit, if you play it right, that's an instant win in any engagement. If you have to be pretty perfect to make it work, but because you can pretty much infinitely ball lightning, you basically, you know, ball lightning, drop a remnant, take one swing, drop ball lightning, all over the place. And since you have infinite mana, and Magnus is going to skewer his illusions back. He's going to get over that little valley there. Just try to get right out. But Storm Spirit does end up catching Rubik back here, who's in there to help him. And there, he's popping the regen right now. Do they want to re-engage onto someone while that's active? You'd think they'd want to. S4 gonna burn the Ziff to keep it active. Yeah, there he goes.
Radiant's top tower's hurt.
Infinite mana for the next 20 seconds or so. And just, oh man, the amount of damage that can come out from oh, it's gonna get taken off by the Magnus. Still, he got some good stuff coming out of it. Sorry, I was ranting too much about that regeneration rune Storm Spirit combination to really pay attention to what was happening to the Magnus. Let's see, net worth. Oh wow, that is a really significant difference. Both Loda and S4 sitting about now about 5,900 and 5,600 net worth respectively, and then you have Anti-Mage, poor Anti-Mage sitting at 3,800. And it's not that he has anything on Courier, it's not that he's missing anything, he's 59 and 21, it's not a bad creep score, but with 2 deaths, the 2 kills don't compensate for the 2 deaths, not by a long shot. And since he doesn't have that Battle Fury yet, his farm rate just isn't fast enough, and they thought they had S4, they thought they had him, but Miracle just underestimated the damage potential of that Storm Spirit, I think. And Unicorn just going to blink right away from that Shadow Demon. Doesn't want to get caught in anything else. And Ake just looking to push this mid-tower now. Regen Aura coming out from the Satyr Hellcaller. That is Satyr Tormentor. Whoops. My bad. And that tower going to go down very, very easily between the regen, the damage coming out from the creeps, and the extra skeletons to tank up. Bulldog just farming up the Radiant Jungle, saying, this isn't the Radiant Jungle. What are you talking about? I'm supposed to be here. Mud Golems. Any of you who don't know the Mud Golem song, check out Jim and Nath. Those guys are awesome. Their channel is Jim and Nath Do the Games. And they have some hilarious Dota videos you should check out. Plugged. For all of my, 15 subscribers. Those guys are pretty awesome and deserve more subs than they have. So, check them out. Storm Spirit just going to pop off a haste rune. Bulldog farming up the bottom lane, getting himself some more. EGM also going to be coming down here. Mania looks like he wants to try and defend this bottom lane, but if he gets seen, he's going to be in a whole lot of trouble. Between Disruption and Surge, he's not going to get away. Especially Demonic Purge as well. He doesn't even have Epicenter yet, only sitting on level 5. And look at these hero levels coming out. 12 and 10 on the Storm Spirit and the Gyrocopter. 9 and 9 on the Magnus and the Anti-Mage. They're not really doing that badly, but the big thing here you want to look at is the supports. 8 and 8 on Chen and Shadow Demon. Those are tri-lane supports sitting at level 8. Same level as Absolute Legends offlaner in that Nature's Prophet. And then the tri-lane supports coming out from AL are 6 and 5. Looks like we do have a stun coming out here onto Admiral Bulldog. He's just going to try and surge away, trying to get a body block going, but oh, he gets lifted for most of it, and the disruption's going to come out, block off his path. He decides to go the other way. Skewer attempt coming in from Miracle. Shockwave, and then some extra damage coming out from Sand King. Sand King is going to be dusted. Storm Spirit's going to come in. Boom! S4 says, you're not getting away. No, he tries to get Rise, but he doesn't get the Vortex off quite in time. I guess he didn't. He saw he was there, but didn't quite have line of sight to get the Vortex, or he probably would have just popped it. Wanted to clear out some of those trees, give himself a nicer field of view. Counter warding now coming out from no Tidehunter. And when you've already taken map control by getting a bunch of these towers, best way to make them. I mean, okay, so they're not safe here. They're not safe like out beyond these first tier towers, right? Of course, they're perfectly safe if they can see where you're coming from. So if those towers are dead and then you counter ward, that's when it really just locks them down. They feel like they can't really go past this area to farm creeps. Or past right here. And oh, speaking of that area, S4 just going to jump right in on Miracle. He has that Orc and Malevolence right now. Boom. That was just an absolutely brutal gank. I don't think they needed anyone but S4, but they brought them in anyway, just to make sure he wasn't going to skewer out of there. Gets sent back to base to get all his mana back, because Chen is just that much of a bro. If anyone, those of you who are watching this, who, you know, you follow Pro Dota, you understand, well, oh, of course they're going to counter ward, you know. That's just basic game sense. Yeah, I know. A lot of people already know that, but I like to just plug that stuff, especially as this is kind of a fresh channel, fresh Twitch channel, fresh YouTube. If there are people coming in here who just like, oh, what's this Pro Dota thing that everyone mentioned? They just kind of click on a random video. I like to explain a little bit of what's going on just to make sure they understand. I know I'm not a perfect player. I'm sure I'll make some mistakes every once in a while, but at the same time, I do know enough that I can give some basic advice. Bulldog now just pushing the mid lane with that Ion Shell, and look at just the total and complete, you know, aside from Loda, who's just farming up this top lane, he wants it back at his tower as much as possible, obviously. He does some pulls, but every other lane is getting pushed in for absolute legends. They don't have a lot of room to move around. They're not able to to use the ganking potential of the Sand King and the Rubik, two very powerful mid-game heroes. The Magnetar not able. Oh no! Oh, Nature's Prophet looks like he's taking a lot of damage. Gets orchided by Storm, but he doesn't want to go in. And I don't actually know how he died.
Pretty sight right now.
I didn't see what happened, but he did. So I could open the combat log. Is that? Oh god! Oh god! What have I done? Guys, I'm so sorry. Okay, it's fixed. Never doing that again. Oh, S4. That's the problem with the Storm Spirit, is that mana break hits so hard, and Rise actually managed to steal the Zip. That's a tough thing to steal. It's gonna be, if only he had more mana regen, it would be even more effective. But at the same time, the risk of running a Storm Spirit is that if the Anti-Mage is in the pool, gets picked up, if you run yourself out of mana, that Void is just going to kill you. I mean, it's kind of how Storm works. And especially, I mean, against the later... Oh, it looks like Miguel wants to pick up Ake right here, but... And then Unicorn coming in as well. They're going to chase him down. I don't really see how they're going to get out of this, especially since Ake already burned his net from the Dark Troll on the... No, they're just going to go back and farm the creeps. I guess, oh, Bulldog was coming in to surge him. They may not have known that, but I guess they probably figured that since they can't see anything in this whole region here because of that counter warning, it was not safe to continue chasing off to Ake. So in the end, instead of losing his hero, he just loses a couple of creeps instead. He'll go grab those back and be useful again in about a minute or so. Miracle trying to get himself more farmed up, has his Arcane Boots in his bottle, really wants to pick up that Blink Dagger so he can do much more counter initiation, try to get some good pickoffs going, because AL needs to drag this game out, and they need the Magnetar to really do a lot of the heavy lifting for them at this phase of the game. The Prophet can get some pushing done, but he's not particularly well farmed. He went Midas, but has nothing afterwards, and only 500 gold. So that's not been an effective Midas for him. I mean, it'll help him get extra levels, it'll help him recover a little faster, but at the same time, it's not like he's going to have anything in the near future to help him do a lot of really strong split pushing. Storm, on the other hand, Storm is just farmed. It's level 14. What's his net worth at? 8,600, 8,000 on Gyrocopter. This is looking... It's looking really good for no Tidehunter, but remember that simply because of the presence of Anti-Mage and how fast, especially now that he's got his Battle Fury, he's going to be able to farm up and catch up. if they can drag this game, they will have so much of a gold advantage in the end, just because of the speed of farm on that anti-mage, and he will out-carry that gyrocopter. I mean, especially when, you know, one of your strongest heroes on your team is a Storm Spirit against an anti-mage. That is not really something you want to engage past, you know, the 30-40 minute mark. So I expect... Oh, there goes the Orchid coming out onto the anti-mage. He doesn't have his Manta yet, so he can't just purge that off. Lots of damage coming out. Miguel comes in to try to save him, but it's just not enough. Reverse Polarity being spent on F4. Not sure I agree with that. I think he has the mana to zip out. Yeah, he gets far enough away. Oh, Rubik stole the zip. He really wants to catch him with the telekinesis, but he doesn't quite get close enough. And S4 going to get an anti-mage, burn a couple of TPs and a reverse polarity and get away. And with that RP spent, check it out. Roshan just dying while S4 is putting on pressure. With RP spent and an Aegis that they're going to have on Loda in just a second, I wouldn't be surprised to see NTH go for a Rax right now. Maybe that bottom Rax that's just so heavily pushed up. At the very least, they're going to want to take this last mid tower. But I would expect a pretty quick rotation to get this done. They have 1 minute before that RP is back up, and Magnus does have the blink now, so he can position himself very well for that, but obviously when it's on cooldown, it doesn't work quite as well to have that blink dagger. Just making sure there's no wards, they're not being spotted coming in from that direction. And now, here's the trick, they have so much map control that they can just take a whole lot of Anti-Mage's potential jungle farm for themselves. No Tidehunter can, excuse me. I say they a lot. I need to work on being more specific. Because if I say they, generally I think you guys can follow what I'm saying because I have the camera on them. But it's still not good. Oh, S4 going to get crushed right there. Quick telekinesis coming in from Rubik. Quick follow-up coming in from everybody else. And just no way he could get out of that. And now they want to take this top tower. They want to get their first tower of the game. Get themselves some gold here. The tree's already going to go in to start tanking it and taking it down. And that's going to fall really, really quickly.
No breaking through the
they are going to burn fortification to slow it down, but I don't think they're going to really be able to do anything about it. Oh, there's a porting coming in from Bulldog. They want to fight this. They want to try and slow this down. Loda's there as well, but it's 3 versus 5. Stun coming in from Mania. Huge RP on 3, but where'd everyone go? Oh, the skewer comes back in. The heal comes off. Call down is coming out from Loda as well as the wall, catching everyone in that wall. Sand King already down, and the rest of AL on the retreat against 3 heroes. That was a 3 versus 5. There's no way that should have ended that poorly for them. And man, what's the advantage looking like now? 12,000 experience, about 15,000 gold. Now they better push for Rax. They didn't do it earlier. But with 3 heroes down, the RP was spent again on Magnus. So they have another 75 seconds. Even after he comes back up, they'll have about 45 seconds before you can burn that again. But you'd think this tower will probably go down before he even comes up. Miguel being cheeky, taking down that top tower, just trying to get some farm going on, put a little bit of pressure on, but NTH doesn't care. There's no creeps up there. They know that, and Vacuum coming in, Disruption going to come out onto that Sand King. The homing missile stun is going out. It does catch him in the end. Rocket Barrage dealing a lot of damage, but the Sandstorm pops to prevent him from going down. But still just pressuring him away, you know, forcing him to run back to the well. Getting a lot of damage out on this tower, below half already. Zap comes in from Rubik to put some damage out. Shockwave also trying, but that mech just resetting the damage. Ake doesn't have a Ag, so his heal isn't on the ridiculously low cooldown or anything like that. But between the mech and the heal, that heal was so insanely useful in that top lane fight. I really think AL would have won if it wasn't for the Chen heal. But that's a Rax, and that is exactly what no Tidehunter needed. They have the advantage, they need to press it and stop this anti-mage from getting farmed up. That's got backdoor regen on it now, I guess. Yeah, there's no more creeps left in the base. Taking them all out because these trees up here are stopping the creeps from getting in. That's why it's getting backdoor regen. Nifty. So that actually was not as bad as it could have been. Took no Tidehunter longer than it should have because of that cheeky little tree move from Miguel to slow those creeps down. Oh, Manta style coming out for Gyrocopter. So we have a Gyro who's at 23 minutes got Drum, Manta, Dom Helm, and Phase Boots. That's reasonably strong for those of you who don't know. And a 12k net worth Storm Spirit at the same time. Has a BKB. So now the only thing they've got to lock him down out of their entire team is that Magnus RP. They have to spend the RP to try and kill Storm Spirit. And that's what they just didn't. But their damage just isn't there. They don't have the physical damage to bring him down in time. Chen Heal also coming out, so he's going to use that BKB. He didn't get anyone for it, but at the same time, oh, Bulldog going in as well. Oh, that is a dangerous epicenter. Storm going to go down. I don't know why they went back in on that. Bulldog's still alive, gets a big, big wall, and the rocket barrage from Loda and the flat cannon. The triple kill with all of that AoE from the gyrocopter. How glorious was that? That was a fantastic setup from NTH. I thought Storm was crazy going back in there. And sure, he trades himself, but at the same time, he just buys enough time, baits just enough for Loda to come in there and clean everyone up. There will be no Loda throws this game, ladies and gentlemen. Loda now 716, 161 creeps, net worth of 13.5. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a very effective gyrocopter. Oh, the zip in from Storm. Rise thought he was safe, but boom, you are never safe with a Storm Spirit on the map. Ugh. That hero. So entertaining to watch just how quickly things happen, how much action he just forces. And just Chen creeps trolling. Not even Chen, just Ake's Chen creeps killing people, pushing lanes. They don't need Chen. What's a Chen anyway? There goes Loda's Aegis can burn off. S4 gonna zip up to catch Mania on his way back in. Quick Orchid and a few auto attacks to bring him down. That was Chen creeps with Storm Spirit to finish him off. Chen creeps harassed him down low enough that Storm Spirit just said, yeah, okay, I can take that for free now. There's the flat cannon coming out. That's a second set of Raxes, and with the farm advantage coming out, we're now beyond 20,000 XP, beyond 20,000 gold. I wouldn't be surprised to see a GG coming out from AL very shortly. Mech comes out, and this last tower, is that a blink on the Shadow Demon? That is a farm Shadow Demon. 7,000 net worth Shadow Demon at 26 minutes.
Radiant's mid tower could use a hand.
The Shadow Demon is only like 1,300 behind the Anti-Mage with a Battle Fury. That's ridiculous. Another just going straight in from S4. Magnus thought he could do something, just popping off smoke for the fun of it. And another zip in, and there's the GG from Miracle. They've said, alright, yeah, this is pretty over. So we will be going on to Game 2. Hopefully AL can run it back a bit, and it wasn't... I don't think it was a problem with their draft, really, so much. They were a little weak compared to the incredible mid-game strength of no Tidehunter. Maybe they were a little low on counter push, counter push AoE, but they have the spammable shockwave to try and slow things down. I think what really won it for NTH was just the effectiveness of their early ganks. Let them win the laning phase, win what, could have been an even laning phase if there hadn't been those ganks. And then that let them snowball much more effectively into the mid-game and use the incredibly powerful mid-game potential of Storm Spirit and Chen and Gyrocopter to really just take the game. We never made it to late game. Otherwise the Anti-Mage would have won. Alright. Gonna kill stream so I don't show you guys how many games there are or anything like that. And then we'll be right back.
Radiant's